Do you feel like you've tried every jet guide out there but still can't improve? Do you feel stuck, or maybe like you're just not built for flying those iron birds? Nonsense! Let me show you why you're not progressing and why it's not your fault. In other words, welcome to the next episode of the series in which I analyze and test multiple guides to find the best and fastest solutions to problems you didn't even know you had. Now, let's go! Let's start with the guides themselves. I've watched many guides on this subject, but to keep it short, we will focus on the best ones. First, let's talk about Silk, arguably the best pilot in the game right now. He has put out several guides since the game released in October. Here's the latest one. They are all pretty similar. While I really appreciate Silk's skill as a jet pilot, his guides are very all show, no tell. He assumes, as many pro players do, that certain things are obvious to everyone. So, instead of explaining them, he spends most of his videos complaining about current game balance issues. And honestly, thank God he does that, because DICE actually listens to players like him. So, while his guides lack detailed explanations, they're still really useful to watch. You can adopt some of his tactics, try to copy the execution of his strafes, and even pick up a bug or two that might help you survive. Still, despite the title, this is hardly advice for new players. Next up, we have TheBoredBread, and his guide is much better in terms of actual explanations. To be fair, Silk also posted guides on settings, but he didn't tell the whole story, and I'll explain why in a second. Something about Silk's gameplay always bothered me. In his settings guide from October, he briefly showed his keybinds without commentary at the end of the video. I copied them, but I could never understand how he achieved such precise rolls while turning, or his pinpoint cockpit accuracy. That is, until I saw TheBoredBread's guide. Then everything suddenly made sense. I believe both of them use the same system called rifle aim, and I will explain it later in this video. So, while both Silk and Bread are amazing pilots, a lot of their content is basically flexing or talking about strategy. For a new player, it can be confusing and not very helpful, because usually you need to learn how to walk before you learn how to run. I almost missed this guide because it was buried deep by YouTube's algorithm, but in my opinion it has the best educational value of all of them. It mixes beginner tips with more advanced ones in a way that's a bit all over the place, but don't worry, I've tested everything and I will walk you through it in a clear order. The final guide I chose is from GhostGaming. This channel doesn't disappoint, and there's a wide variety of topics, and while I don't necessarily agree with everything in this particular video, their approach is much more newbie friendly, so I strongly recommend watching it. Despite my criticism, I highly recommend watching all of these creators. They are talented, they put out great content, but I believe there are some blanks in their guides, and we are going to fill them right now. Let me introduce you to the best vehicle training range out there. Copy Vehicle&Soldier shooting range at SoVolt, made by AP Atipoya, with the most honest server description ever. You can use vehicle. And here, you will use vehicle, oh yeah. This map has everything. A flying enemy Black Hawk, stationary tank targets, moving infantry, stationary infantry, and more. It's a great place to practice and should honestly be the first thing mentioned in the beginner guides. Practicing in a safe environment lets you make mistakes without stress or frustration. Many new players get discouraged. They try jet or heli in a public lobby, crash immediately, which is normal, feel ashamed, and then get roasted by their teammates. Trust me, I've been there. Some of you may say that there are better Portal servers for practice, and sure, maybe there are. There will definitely be better ones in the future, but here's my bonus tip: how to find good servers without going crazy. The maps I'm talking about are situated here in Community tab, and this is the best way to find best working maps with all sorts of things, like for example vehicles that are working. In many cases, lots of maps say in their descriptions that they have working vehicles, enemies, etc., but in reality they rarely do work. So to find those worthwhile, let me show you how to look for them. You click on the search experiences, then sort by most popular, and then you could type in some keywords like practice, you can do dogfight, and this is a great example because this map is great for training your dogfight abilities vs bots and normal people too. Or you could just see which maps are the most popular, and usually these good training maps should be somewhere here. Okay, let's try this now. And as you can see, there it is. 1000 upvotes, 40 people at the moment in the game. This is the one I'm talking about. So let's try it out. This is the experience code. I will be posting them in the description below. So let's try it out. If you don't want any people invading your server, please remember to host it locally, like so. Okay, here we are. This is how the map looks like. This is Operation Firestorm, but above it there is a platform with many vehicles you can choose from. So let's spawn right in, and as you can see, there are I believe all types of vehicles that are available in the game. However, when it comes to aircraft, I think these are only from NATO side, no Pax Armata. So this is the one thing to keep in mind, and it's not a big difference, so you shouldn't worry about it. Okay, so let's hop in. Alright, now let's move on to the main part of this guide, how to get better. Let's start with one simple tip. Every time you change even the smallest thing in your keybinds or controls, practice here first. And here's a word of encouragement. Switching from default controls to rifle aim or any other type of controls will feel terrible at first. It will make you want to quit, but keep trying. It's only a matter of time before it becomes muscle memory, and trust me, it is worth it. So, about these keybinds. What Silk kept to himself and TheBoredBread revealed is, in my opinion, the best way to control your jet, and heli too, but that's the topic for another video. By default, roll left right is bound to mouse movement. Let me show you. Okay, I think it will be probably the best if I reset this category and we will go step by step with every keybind first, and then at the end I will show you the rest of controls, the rest of settings in a different menu. So let's reset this category, restore default, and now I will show you how I do it. So first, exit vehicle. E is terrible for exiting vehicle. You will hit it multiple times while flying a jet and it will bail out unknowingly many times. So first thing, we need to change that to something further away, for example P, like parachute. Now, big map. Big map has to be somewhere near your fingers. For me, this is my mouse button number 5. However, it is bind through a F11 key on the keyboard. I don't want to get into that. However, please note, it is not F11. Physically, it's on my mouse, okay? Right. So, this we can leave how it is. Scoreboard doesn't matter really. Okay. This stays how it is. Now, movement and aiming. WSAD. This is for yawing. Yep. Okay. First thing you want to change here is changing these movements from rolling on the mouse to yawing. This is that little secret that Silk kept to himself, because you see, if you try to aim from your cockpit, for example, or any other way really with aircraft using your mouse, you will start rolling using default settings, and it is very uncomfortable and very chaotic, and it screws up your precision. However, if you change rolling to yaw settings, like so, this will change automatically. This is way better, because this is practically the principle behind rifle settings. You want to aim like you would with a rifle while playing infantry. Yeah, so we need to unbind those two. This will be automatically for both. Alright, this way we need to change one more thing. Now we don't have rolling on our mouse, so we need to bind some keys on the keyboard, and the best ones are, in my opinion, E for your right and Q for your left, like so. This has one bonus advantage, because using these keybinds you will be able to roll on a max speed every single time, which comes in handy pretty often. Like when you're exiting your turn and you want to position yourself horizontally, for example, this is the best way to do it. Otherwise you would be swiping your mouse all over the place, and it's not very comfortable, I assure you. So yeah, this is the best way to do it, in my opinion. Now let's do same with pitch up and down, because you won't be using the arrow keys. It's not practical. Here's the thing which I got from the GhostGaming tutorial. For pitching down, it's up for me, I'll explain in a bit. It's best to use Alt and spacebar, because you see, Silk recommends using Control as pitch down and spacebar to pitch up. And this is not very practical, because in order to use left control, you have it under your pinky finger, same as throttle booster, I mean afterburner, right? But if you use left alt instead, you have it under your thumb just like spacebar, and you never use them both at the same time, you use them separately, so this makes perfect sense. So I like it much better this way. And a little note of explanation: I have it inverted, so for me pitch down is spacebar and up is left alt, but that's because I'm playing with inverted flight setting on. This is just my personal preference, so please keep it in mind. If you play with this setting off, which I do recommend if you don't have preference like I do, it will be other way around. Pitch down would be on left alt and pitch up would be on spacebar. Okay, now let's see. Free look. Great. For free look, there is a little neat trick. I know it thanks to Silk. Little while ago, they introduced flick look backward, this one. The trick is about setting free look and flick look backward on the same key, like so. And let's make it V. Great. This way you will still be able to get a normal free look, but the camera, after hitting the key, will be positioned looking at your tail. So it's great for example, firing those backwards rockets or checking where is your enemy during a dogfight. So this is really a great tip you can utilize. Okay, let's see if anything else needs to be changed. I don't think so. So yeah, this is practically the rifle aim, and it will take some time to learn it, but please be patient with it, because it is really worth it. Okay, as for the rest of settings, here are important ones. Vehicle mouse aim sensitivity. This, in general, should be close to your infantry mouse aim sensitivity, because it will feel more natural this way. I don't know why I can't use exact sensitivity I have on my infantry settings, but it is like that after the patch, so maybe it's a glitch. Apart from that, in control settings, this is the controversial part. If I were to give you an advice, if you don't have preference on the specific setting, please turn it off. Thanks to that, you will be better at aiming with your mouse while flying a vehicle, trust me. These two settings are by default, I believe, on 100, so please crank them up to the max. Control assist is off, because it limits things you can do. Third-person aircraft camera roll should be off, because it is confusing when it's on, and it's not comfortable during dogfights. Uniform vehicle aiming is on. We leave this how it is. Zoom sensitivity coefficient should be at 0. And the rest is like so. So yeah, this is how it should look like. These are the most important settings for our vehicles. Now that our controls are set up, all that's left is practice. But don't worry, let me show you how much I improved in just one evening. Here's the clip. Nice. Aiming. As you see, it's pretty smooth. So yeah, we'll try to do our best. Not fuck it up this time. Okay, it's going pretty well. I'm going to slow down a little bit, but this looks decent. Still doesn't feel as natural as before, but hey, see? We did it all! We did the whole thing! Oh, fuck. Yeah, it was great. As for the first time, it was pretty good. So yeah. And I only got better and better from there. Here is my recommended path for the fastest progress. First, switch your controls to the rifle system. Then, fly through the rings or play Operation Firestorm below to get comfortable. And finally, practice your strafes and hitting that Black Hawk helicopter. And here's something I have never seen explained, even though every good pilot does it. What to do while turning back for your next strafe. So we'll go through step by step. First, Start slowing down mid-turn. Lower speeds give you more time to aim. After exiting your turn, hold Q or E to level with the horizon. It gives the most natural aiming feel and minimizes the risk of crashing the plane. Then, depending on the jet. If you are flying attack jet, you fire your missile, then switch to cannon to do a burst, then switch to bombs, drop 1 or 2, pull up but don't accelerate yet, use your free look button and fire a backward rocket, and then use your afterburner to get away as fast as possible. If you're using stealth jet, then, if the target is painted, fire your air-to-air missile, then use cannon and then bombs. If not, then skip the air-to-air missile, fire your cannons, do the burst, and then use the bombs. Strafes need to be practiced over and over again, as this is the most difficult part while flying a jet. If you don't feel comfortable yet, you could skip autocannon bursts in your rotations. It will be much easier this way. In this next segment, About 9 Fishes video was the most helpful. It gave me the most insight and cleared up several misconceptions I had. Now, let's compare the two jet types and break down the strengths and weaknesses of each. First, let's talk about attack jet. You can recognize it by the single thruster. It has a hard-hitting autocannon with wider spread, which is great for damaging armored targets, like for example MBTs. It also comes with air-to-ground missiles that work well against both heavy and light vehicles. In my tests, they dealt around 280 damage to an MBT. The value varied depending on the angle of the impact. You also get 2 bombs, which can deal up to maximum 335 damage on a direct hit. Every missile and bomb was tested on this MBT for clarification. Attack jets are often referred to as the better jet. That's not entirely fair, but I will explain why later. They excel at damaging vehicles thanks to the autocannon's high burst damage and the lock-on missiles. Additionally, by using free aim or the slightly awkward zoom camera, you can also fire backwards rockets at ground or painted targets, which massively increases your damage per strafe. The 2 bombs also drop instantly on left click and hit harder than the bombs on fighter jets. They're mounted under the wings, which is why the bomb indicator circle is slightly off center when you aim. Overall, attack jets are easier to use against ground vehicles, and their bombs are simpler to aim, which is why many players prefer them over fighter jets. Now let's talk about fighter jet or stealth jet, the one with 2 thrusters. Are they actually worse than attack jets? Not at all, and here is why. While attack jets offer easier ways to damage ground vehicles, fighter jets provide much better survivability, thanks to their air-to-air missiles. Your survival heavily depends on dealing with enemy jets and helicopters. More on that at the end of the video. Your autocannon does less damage to armored vehicles, but has lower spread, and it shreds jets and helicopters just as effectively as attack jets' cannons. You also get 4 bombs. They're harder to aim because there's a slightly delay after clicking, indicated by a bomb bay sound effect. The hatch is centered under the plane, unlike the wing-mounted bombs on attack jets. These bombs deal a bit less damage. I got max of 283 on direct hit, but you can hold left click to drop multiple bombs in one run, unlike the 2 separate clicks required in the attack jet. But what really sets fighter jets apart is their thrust vectoring and the secret technique called V-tapping. I have never seen V-tapping explained properly, so here we go. Normally, when optimizing your turn in an attack jet, you would go full speed, then press S and pitch up or down, but V-tapping, available only in fighter jets, lets you turn significantly faster. And here is how to do it. Build up some speed, then, while holding afterburner, shift, and your pitch up or down key, spacebar or left alt, rapidly tap W and S alternately. Don't hold them, just use quick taps. V-tapping gives you the tightest, fastest loops and it will win you many dogfights. Thrust vectoring also lets you perform some maneuvers to shake off someone on your tail, but it only works if the other jet is really close to you. If you do this, you can let him pass you, he won't be able to brake as fast as you did, and you will be on his tail instead. But the timing here has to be perfect. Do it wrong and you will make yourself an easier target. So, to sum it up, fighter jets excel in air-to-air combat and therefore survivability. They have unmatched mobility, and with 4 bombs they can actually outperform attack jets against groups of infantry. With perfect precision, 4 direct bombs are also enough to destroy an MBT, but precision is absolutely key. Now, let's talk general strategy. According to Silk and many others, your first target is always enemy jets. Reason for that is that the TTK, which is time to kill, is extremely short. If an enemy jet gets behind you, you have almost no counterplay, especially with radar still being broken almost 2 months after release. That is why they advocate for spawn timing and spawn camping. Jets respawn every 90 seconds, so it's very predictable. It isn't fun, I personally don't do it, but it is the meta right now, so I have to mention it. After killing the jets, your priority should be enemy helis first. They make for easy kills, this is a major help for your team, and they also can kill you, so you should get rid of them as fast as possible. Then you could target enemy vehicles, for example tanks, IFVs, MBTs, and then you could focus on infantry, which is fun target, but it also can be dangerous because RPGs in current game version are extremely fast. They have insane velocity and almost no drop, so be warned. And that concludes this episode. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. It's a fresh channel, so it would mean the world to me. Tell me in the comments what you'd like to learn next. See you next time.